All right. Hello. So I did my session with the customer, and it's nice. We got it running, and I haven't gotten general feedback on the API changes yet, but I'll probably get that. But we got what they're gonna do is, or what's important to them is being able to. They run it from the browser. And whenever it hibernates and you refocus, it should automatically reconnect and kind of continue the session from the browser. So that's what we enabled. So that was nice. But there's and I also got some feedback on Git. So we're just going to jump a little bit all over. And there's also an issue with terminals that we're going to try to explore. Let's see. Wait, this is picture client. That's not what I wanted. Where are we? Here we are. Okay. So first of all, we're gonna go back because I was a little bit uncertain about this. Just referencing a sandbox, and then we tried something, and then that didn't quite work. But I think it actually can work. So if we change this around. And we're gonna make picture manager response optional. And I was like, how are we gonna deal with this? Well, we can just check. Do we have it? And if not, we're gonna call it unknown. We don't know. And the same here. Just not available. That's perfectly fine. And is up to date would be this dot picture manager response. We're gonna do that, or we're gonna say true. That is perfectly fine, I think, maybe. I guess this should also be... Yeah, that one's interesting. If you want to check if it's up to date and we haven't yet started it, we could also throw an error. That's interesting. So this dot picture manager response. And this is undefined at least. Yeah, I guess we shouldn't throw an error. Does this return string or? I guess this is also unknown. Unknown. Is up to date. That's the tricky one, because then we would have to have true, false, null or something. Or we have to move it to when you actually connect. But I don't really want that. I think is up to date could really have its own endpoint, because it's valuable information to be able to check without connecting to the VM or even starting it. What should we do about this one? What the hell should it is a bit weird. This is fine, because you haven't started it yet, so that's fine. Or yeah. I got stuck on this one. Is up to date. I guess the right thing is to say true. So that you don't, like, we don't know, right? And if we say false, it means that you would kind of do something that you don't want to do if it's actually updated. Well, we could also, oh, you know what we could do? We could just give it a state. Oh, yeah, we should do that. So state equals like resumed. Status. Well, yeah. Well, I guess it will be status like unknown, or it will be status resumed. And then if you do have status resumed, then you have boot up type cluster and is up to date. Yeah, I think we have to do that, or you're not guaranteed to get that stuff. So export type sandbox state would be status unknown or status running, and then you have is up to date cluster string, and then boot up type boot up type oh, come on. Feature manager response, boot up type. Yeah. So this would be sandbox state, status unknown. And then when we construct it, where's the constructor? We're not gonna have those here. We're gonna say if feature manager response, we're gonna say this state equals status running. Yeah, and that will be I do think this is better. Cool. Yeah, we could have like a private set state, really. So that would be, yeah, but it can be, yeah, wait, set running state. So that would be feature manager response. Let's do that instead. So if we have that, we say this set, I think it should get running state. I'm rather going to return it. Then we're going to say get running state. This dot state equals this get running state. What do we call it? Sandbox state. Cool. Yeah. Okay, cool. And then what we're gonna do is So we might not have a global session. Yeah, and I think I'm gonna rather call this get global session. So I think you're gonna do this. Get global session. So let's create that as well as a private thing. Get global session. So if this dot global session, return this dot global session, or we're gonna start a thing. How do we do that? Oh yeah, because now, sorry, this dot sandbox kind start. Didn't I do this already? Oh yeah, sorry. We're gonna resume it. Sorry. Return. Wait, this dot resume. Return this dot global session. Is this private? No. I really hate that. You know what? We're rather gonna do this. This dot global session equals await. Turn this dot global session. Oh, sorry. This picture manager response. Turn this dot picture manager. Oh, yeah. Okay. Okay, we're gonna change this as well. So if no picture manager response, we're gonna set it. And then we're gonna return the actual thing. Get global session. This get global session. Await. Oh, something is. Ugh, ES freaking lint. Yeah, so this would be the same. Await. Get global session. Don't have to wait it again. Like this is typing here is completely out of whack. Wait, create session. Promise of sandbox session. Why is this? Oh, sorry, this boot up type. Okay. Oh, but now this might not be. This is kind of annoying. I guess we kind of have to check. Yeah. How are we gonna deal with this? Like, there's no guarantee that we actually have the picture manager response. Well, what's interesting about this, I don't think we should. Okay. Where's the picture manager response? We should actually put that on the state. Well, it's private, so we shouldn't have it on the state. Actually, this doesn't need to be public. Well, it has to be public if you want to check the fuck. Like I can do a check here, but this is the kind of stuff that just discourages me. It's when the code doesn't reflect the state of things, literally. Because I can check the state, like have we actually started, which I really should do here, because if we haven't started it or resumed it, you shouldn't go and do this, or at least we should start it. And that's interesting here, because create session, does that actually, no, that just creates the session. So we actually have to have some checks here. Yeah. I'm also unsure if these ones actually work. Update tier. Yeah, I wonder if these requires the VM to be running to actually work. Okay. I don't. So it was so straightforward. We always had the picture manager response. We could make all of them async. That's also a way to fix this. Yeah, I don't like this. Tag nugget. I don't like it. Sandbox state. It's just, we shouldn't leak out this like special behavior of lazily so what I think is better is that we say like get boot up type, get cluster is up to date, make that yeah, and there's no like, okay, let's try that approach. Get boot up. It's very interesting though, but implicitly calling that you're gonna resume the VM, that's also really weird. So in that sense, you kind of want to have, and the same for cluster. I think that's fine. It's the global session that we need to make a function. Or like, what do we, So if you try to create a browser session and we don't have a picture manager response, it means that we need to resume it first. Or we need to set that picture manager response. Because you can't create a session without the VM running. And then this boot up type. Yeah, and this. But now the boot up type is wrong because unknown isn't a union of guaranteed that. No, this is just. I don't like this. Dag nagget. This is so annoying. How are we gonna deal with this? So either we need to like have duplicate methods, because some methods doesn't require the VM to be running. Or you don't want to resume the VM to run the methods, which is, what was it? Shut down, preview tokens. But then I want to argue that, okay, what if there are certain, okay, what if restart, that's also weird, like that you can't have a reference to sandbox and you can't like restart it. You always have to pass an ID. That's also weird. Ah! So what's the problem if we always require you to resume it? What were we working on? Ah, what the hell were we doing? Yeah, because there's certain things. I want this to be lazy. That's the thing. I want this sandbox to be lazy. But then if it's lazy, you can't. But maybe boot up type and cluster shouldn't be. Okay, the only real way to do this is to have an explicit state of the sandbox. Like, but that's the whole thing. I don't want that to leak out. God damn it. Well, that's annoying. Okay, I'm getting upset by this. Like, we're in this catch-22 thing where I want the sandbox to always reflect its state, like actual state, but that requires it to be started. And there are certain things I want to do without it being started. And I don't want to have two sets of methods. That's very confusing. It's almost like you could also argue that, okay, so this is going to be a bigger change though. You can also argue that like you'd remove that whole intermediate layer. So, okay, well, We are iterating. So what you can do instead here is, we don't really have this concept. So what you rather do is, yeah, okay. So you don't have sandbox here. Well, you have the sandbox, but it's kind of the actual sandbox. So let's just do this. Okay, and then if you want to fork something, you have SDK sandbox fork. You have to pass in the ID, and then you have this stuff. And then you have SDK sandbox.restart. And you have to pass the ID. Start options. Sandbox hibernate. You have to pass the ID. Everything's about that. And then when you resume, then you get boot up type is up to date. What was the last one? Cluster. Hello there. And here you get like ID, whatever other stuff comes from. Well, I guess here we could also, we could return the same thing. It's up to date and cluster. And then sandbox hibernate, shutdown, ID, SDK sandbox, resume. Well, we already have that. SDK sandbox dot update tier, and then SDK sandbox update the hibernation timeout. Whatever, and then again sandbox SDK sandbox connect. Give it the ID, and you have this potential custom session thing. So you rather do this. So there's really only a single API surface, which is this thing. And here you also have SDK.sandbox, create preview token, stuff like that. And this makes more sense because now you have to resume it or create it to get access to like the boot up type, is up to date, cluster and everything. The problem though is we don't have, so if I do SDK sandbox.create browser session, for example, now if I do a custom session, we have to resume it first. But maybe that is fine. Like if something actually requires it to be running, we just have to call it internally. Because there's so many things that doesn't require it to be running. So that would mean like from a documentation perspective, are we really gonna rewrite all of this? This is rough. So that means from here, it would rather be something like this, and you would say SDK.sandbox.connect. That's kind of how it would change. Oh, didn't I fix this one? And then this would be yeah, I guess, yeah, whatever, sandbox 2. So it's more stateless, but there are certain things you can do without knowing the state of the sandbox. So like the only thing that's like fully stateful is actually being connected to a VM. But there are certain things you don't want to be connected for to do. Oh, this is actually wrong. Port info to URL. And then again here you have SDK sandbox.hibernate sandbox2.id, and then new client 2 SDK sandbox connect sandbox2 ID. Yeah, again, SDK sandbox fork sandbox, and let's just call this sandbox. So we have sandbox ID. Like this actually does handle everything. And then the thing though is that when you create it, this is the problem though. If you create it, when it's stateless like this, we don't really know. So in this context, when you create, we actually start a VM. We know that it started. But now, if you just have this like generic connect thing, you might call this, oh wait, connect is fine. Because, yeah, sorry, that doesn't need to resume. So it would be, but a different issue would be like, what if I were to call browser session and then await SDK sandbox.create browser session, and I would say sandbox.id. Well, not necessarily that, but if I did this, ID anonymous permission read, this is a problem because I don't know when this can be called, because there's no reference to anything other than just an ID. So here I have to always resume it. So that means in this specific context of creating, or maybe you're even resuming a sandbox here. We're gonna resume it again. I did not see this one coming. Oh. But we can also make the argument that, okay, there are just certain, like, I don't like this. We can also make the argument that anything, so this is fine, but if you want to shut down, that's something you do. Let's see, sandbox resume. Yeah, we don't need that. Shutdown is something you always do by ID. So that is SDK sandbox shutdown, because that's something you might want to do. Why did I want to pass it in optionally? Yeah, I think it was related to, so SDK sandbox dot create preview token. that's something you might want to do unrelated to starting the VM. Restart, maybe something you want to do. Yeah, like restart, hibernate, fork. We already have that. Update tier. Like all of these things are really, that's the thing. Like all of these things are things you might want to do without starting the VM. God damn it. So we are kind of creeping up to that API. Ah! But maybe that's fine then. Maybe it needs to be that way. So that, I can't believe this. Yeah, okay. No, I give up. Like not give up, but we're gonna duplicate that. Yeah, this should be client. Oh. Client. Oh, client 2. Yeah, and this is just URL. This is just URL. Cool. Okay, sorry. So what we need to do is we need to move some stuff. So the Sandbox client should be able to, let's see, there's a private start. It has already resumed actually. Yeah, that's fine. Let's see. So we have, let's see, create browser session. Okay, let's move restart first. So we're still gonna have restart here, but we're gonna return this dot sandbox client restart this dot id. Yeah, and this can actually have options, start options. Let's see. Oops. So that takes an ID, string, and ops, start sandbox ops. ID ops. Oh, sorry. Oh, why is this doing resume? This shouldn't be resume. Oh, interesting. Yeah. Okay, cool. Start response. This dot start. Return new sandbox. Wait. Okay, and then we need shutdown. No, you can return sandbox. That's fine. Yeah, I guess we can do a wait on this one. Okay, I'm starting to feel okay about this. Where's shutdown? There we have shutdown. Let's copy that over. This dispose? No. So this would require an ID. Yeah, this handle response is just to throw an error if there's an actual error. Yeah, sandbox ID. Fine. Let's do that here as well. Cool. And then inside here, we're rather gonna call return this.sandbox client, shut down this.id. Let's remove this. Yeah, and same for Hibernate. Oh, what's these? Yeah, we can clean that up later. Sandbox ID. Okay. Hibernate would now be return this dot sandbox client hibernate this ID. Don't need that thing. Yeah, and update tier. I'm gonna ask about this. Let's put that in the to do. So I got some answers for the Git stuff, but does update tier and update hibernation require VM start? So let's see, constructor fork. Yeah, this one's fine. No, we're gonna remove all the thingies here. Let's see. Shut down, hibernate, update tier. That's a new one, right? Update tier, VM tier. Oh. Where's VM tier? Weird that it can't find it sometimes. Oh, this was Sandbox ID. So this would be Sandbox ID. Cool. Yeah, and then update tier will be return this dot sandbox client update tier this ID tier. And then we have this one. Update hibernation timeout. So that will be return this dot sandbox client. Hello there. Hello. I'm just here refactoring once more. Cool. I don't want the private stuff to be down here. Cool. So now we have all the things available to us, both on the instance. Yeah, it's refactoring. Well, I guess you could. This sounds silly, but you could also state that you like if you're sculpturing, like you must be tired of sculpturing. But that's how I think about it. It's not like I'm not just refactoring for the same to end up at the same place. It's more like sculpturing than refactoring. At least that's how I think about it. But it's annoying, right? You're trying to do something and then you go in one direction and then you hit this thing and then, oh shit, no, that's not compatible with that other thing. Yeah, you know, I haven't had that feedback before, but I had feedback that it's nice for people working remotely to kind of have someone it feels kind of like you have a colleague working in the background, but also to to pretend I'm working with the team. Oh yeah, but yeah, you're not pretending that you're working, but you're actually working with a team. Sorry, I misunderstood that. But yeah, that's the thing, right? Yeah, I enjoy so much work, so much more working with someone on something than working alone on something. I guess this stream is kind of my way of also kind of feel like I'm working with someone. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, this is interesting. All right. Okay, so okay, so now we have everything in place here. It works exactly the same as we had it. Yeah. Those damn classes. So when we actually grab a sandbox, we do that by starting it, either by resuming it or creating one. So we have an actual running sandbox here. So calling these methods is safe. Like there is like this weird chance where you might have like a stale variable reference to a sandbox and it's like hibernated and you try to create a session or something, but that doesn't really make that's weird if you would ever do that. But if you don't want that reference now, we're not going to create like a new ref method and like optionally pass in that thing that we depend on. We're just going to allow you to call shutdown and like basically run functionality based on an ID reference as opposed to this reference. That's good. And then we have let's see. Did we do the create preview? I think we can actually move this. No, because you had like revoke all, update. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, so this one's interesting. Like why would you ever? I am a bit conflicted. Like I don't have enough use cases to properly evaluate this, but it's kind of weird that for preview tokens, for example, why do you need to run a VM? Like you technically don't have to run a VM to create a preview token. So I think that's the conflict I still have. Like, what's the scenario where you're actually going to call sandbox.shutdown as opposed to just doing this? Streaming in not the not the position vertical. Or you mean like standing up, or is it an actual streaming software called vertical? Yeah, I feel like these shutdown, hibernate, those are more like I don't know. Okay, maybe I shouldn't. YouTube Shorts live? Can you do that? Oh. But are they like they are kind of live until you stop kind of thing? Because YouTube Shorts, I thought that was like there's like a 2-minute limit or something. I can't get much done within 2 minutes. Oh, like the I see what you mean. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, I'm gonna check that out. I'll check that out. Yeah, because now we have like preview tokens, create. Yeah. Yeah, I'm curious about this like viewer stuff. Like I'm not really trying to like create a YouTube channel or anything. It's just been my YouTube channel has mostly been like a mind dumping place. I have some videos that are actually like relatively well prepared. But it's never been like to actually try to build up the channel. I'm afraid of getting into that mind space of trying to make it a thing, because then I get so obsessed with like likes and how many watched it and all that stuff. Yeah, I'm having a hard time deciding on this. It's weird to me that you do sandbox or preview tokens, create, and then you can also do this. Like you have to be able to do this. That's the point. Like we have to have these ones because you have to be able to shut down a sandbox or create a preview token without actually starting it. But the question is, should you also be able to do it when you have this sandbox reference? But it's weird to go in and resume a sandbox just to shut it down. It makes absolutely no sense. And if you want to create, but it might make sense that like you resume a VM, you do some work, and then you hibernate it. Well, maybe it makes sense that you shut it down as well. Yeah, maybe we should just have it. Like it's not a big deal. It's the exact same APIs. It's just that one of them is stateless, and then you just use what makes sense to you. At least they're consistent. I think that's kind of what we have to conclude with. But that means preview tokens also needs to be. How are we going to move these things? Because these are bound to an ID. I kind of want to say that preview tokens shouldn't be part of this thing. Because it's not about interacting with the sandbox. Well, I guess it kind of is. Oh, I can't believe this. Why is this so hard? But then I have to change this to not take sandbox ID here, but it actually needs to take it here. Ooh. This was like so not my expectation. We were just gonna wrap it up and then go at the rest of the stuff. Look at this. Like now you get into these issues. Now you have 1, 2, 3, 4 freaking arguments to a method, which is just horrible. But I guess that's fine. That was just one. Okay, so I want to say yeah, I don't know. There's something about like I had this really nice separation of like management of a sandbox and connecting to a sandbox. And I don't like all this duplicate stuff. And you could say that SDK.sandbox is about managing a sandbox. And the thing you get back here is just to connect to it. So it has, okay, this is interesting. So what if we do sandbox.connect? Because it has to be running, right? To be able to connect or create browser session. Sandbox.create REST client. So it needs to be actually running to do any of this. But to do all these other things, it doesn't have to be running. That's interesting. So maybe that should be the separation. Like, what's the API that requires it to be running? And then what's the API that doesn't require it to be running? Okay, we're gonna explore that. Okay, let's look at, yeah. I think this makes sense because now what we're gonna do here is that we're actually gonna return a sandbox, right? And then we're gonna say sandbox connect because it needs to be running. So we have client await sandbox.connect, client shells run, await blah blah blah. Yeah, okay, let's just be super strict about that. So now we're gonna say SDK sandbox fork. And we're gonna give sandbox.id. So that will be the next sandbox, and we're gonna connect to it. We're gonna do some stuff on it. And now we're gonna say SDK.sandbox hibernate sandbox2.id. Yeah, I think that's a healthy, that's something you can easily explain. So there's certain APIs that requires the sandbox to be running. And that's the API you get when you call resume or you call create. And then there are certain APIs that doesn't require it to be running. And that is basically everything else. So the thing I don't know yet is if what was it called? Like update tier, stuff like that. I'm actually going to ask about that immediately so that we have that information. Does update tier update hibernation timeout? What didn't we have one more? What was that? Connect. Yeah. Cool. I'm getting an answer on that now. So we're gonna do a tiny little more thing here. And like implementation wise, this isn't a big deal. But documentation and kind of understanding what's the difference between these things, that's the thing we want to avoid. Oh, interesting. Update tier and update hibernation. So these two actually requires it to be running. So they need to be there. Yeah, I don't think we should have this either then. Fork, get away. Yeah, we're not gonna have any preview tokens here. Let's just move that up here. I guess we can just put it up here. And don't we have API client here? No, okay. Let's see. Let's get this done. So this is fine. So there is a chance, as we talked about, this reference will actually yeah, do we actually use API client here? Yeah. There is a chance that this reference, this sandbox reference, is gonna go stale. But it's very unlikely. Okay, so now you can create a browser session, you can create REST client, create session, update tier has to actually happen inside here, and update hibernation timeout actually needs to happen in here. So update tier, let's move that back, and both of these. Let's do this. I guess there's a bunch of stuff we don't need here. Cool. So this is actually great. And oh, we don't need the wait. Oh yeah, now we can do API client. Oh, this was kind of a proof that we're doing something right, I think. Yeah. Let's see, API client. So sandbox client. Yeah, we're gonna fix that. This.api client. This.api client. This.api client. Cool. And then we have preview tokens. So this.preview tokens is going to be a new preview tokens. This.api client. Cool. And then we just have to fix the preview token. So we're going to pass in the sandbox ID instead. Cool. Revoke all for sandbox ID. And update sandbox ID. Nice. Okay. I can remove that one as well. Okay, I think I like this. And now, like it, even like just going through this made us actually realize how certain things depends on the VM running. So the way you kind of look at this, like doing this resume or create, is like, this is an ephemeral reference to, like, this thing only lives as long as it's being interacted with. But you can point to SDK.sandbox, whatever method, at any point in time, right? And those will execute as you would expect. So yeah, I like that. That makes a lot of sense. Though it does mean we have to go through the documentation again. Let's see. I'm not sure if it's really that much work. So create and resume. Yeah. Okay. And that's the nice thing is that we can create resume. We can talk about it here. The methods available here requires the sandbox to be running. Additionally, you have create from the yeah, cool. So that's true. And then we have sessions and clients. This is fine. You can choose to create your own thing. This is still true. Storage, all of this is still true. Great. And then we have preview tokens. Yeah, so here we need to, yeah, and again, like we don't have to resume it here now. Okay, great. I think we need to release a new version after this, like a new beta version. So we don't have to do that. We can just do this. Some sandbox ID. Oh, sandbox SDK. Oh, sorry, SDK.sandbox. SDK. Get sign preview URL. Pass in the port and token to create URL for a preview. The URL will access to sandbox until the token expires. Great. Blah, 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 blah. So this will be, we don't need that. We say SDK.sandbox preview tokens create params.id. And then SDK.sandbox get sign preview body.port. Yeah. Await promise all. Cool. And then pass it to the browser. Fine. Using the token for API requests. Create. Yeah, we don't need to do all of this though. Or, okay, well, maybe we do. SDK, so we have the client, we have shells, wait for port. Yeah, so this will be SDK, sandbox, preview tokens, create, sandbox.id. That's fine. So there's like only one way to do anything, really. And some things you need to do without the running VM. So that's the one thing of doing that through the SDK.sandbox. Or some things requires you to have a running sandbox, which means it's done through the actual sandbox thing. Yes, it makes sense. Preview tokens, hibernate. Okay. Okay, so I'm reflecting a bit now. Should I just work on this documentation later? I think I'm gonna do that. So we're gonna do something more fun instead. Yeah, let's do something more fun instead. So we were gonna, yeah, so we don't have to do that. We want to expose the state and on state change in the sandbox. Well, not the sandbox, but the WebSocket client. So we can actually do that. So this will be get state, return this picture client. Oh, this is nice to have. And then get on state change, return this picture client on state change. Oh, do we have to bind it? Let's just bind it to this picture client. Nice. That's nice to have. Document. Okay, and then I got some answers on the git clone thing. So we're gonna allow users to clone, create git sandbox. So we are going to allow you to, what was the thing? Yeah, that's optional. So we're gonna allow you to clone without git access token. Yeah, but we should not allow you to use it with a global user, which means if you do pass git access token, yeah, this is the interesting thing. So if you do have git access token here, we need to create a temporary user. Clone admin, something like that. And then permission, well, is right. I can be explicit about that. We do not want users to pass git access token on global user because it can be read by other users. Yeah, the only thing that's a little bit silly here. Not silly, but I wish we could create sessions when we fork the sandbox, not after it's been started. I think that's yeah, we're gonna fix that. So there's we can reduce some latency there. But then we handle that. Yeah, in the current implement, there's a bit fancy logic. Yeah, so that's really that thing. And then what I thought we could do now is we're gonna set up a Vite project and we're gonna connect to a shell using Xterm. And we're gonna play around with it because it seems to be a little bit unreliable. Yeah. Let's do that. We're gonna push these changes. What was the we were looking at create git sandbox. Yeah, this is gonna throw an error if something goes bad. Yeah, cool. Yeah, so the point is that we kind of create this like clone admin just to clone the repo, and then when you return, you can still use the global user if you don't use a git access token, or we're going to create a new session if you do have a git access token. Yeah, this is interesting. That's the thing I don't quite like here, is that we have to create two users, because at the point where you create a git oh, you know what we could do? We could say that if you have a git access token, we also need to you also need to pass in options for session ID. Yeah, we can do that. So either git access token is yeah, it's a little bit weird because we have to connect to the VM to do the cloning and stuff. No, I think we have to learn more about this. It's fine for now. It works. It's just like more efficiently creating sessions and stuff. That's on my mind. Okay, but let's what is that Vite command? Oops. Vite.js. I can never remember. Never ever. Oh. npm create Vite latest. Yeah, for sure. What we're gonna call it? Shell SDK test. I guess we can use, yeah, let's just use React. Let's see. Oh, npm install. Yeah, so we need to link our, yeah, let's try building it again. And, oh, sorry. And then we're going to use, because npm link sucks, we're going to use a yarn link. And then yarn link, CodeSandbox, SDK. And then we need a server. So let's do new file server ts. And I cannot remember proxy. How did I do this? Oh, what was it? Server. Ah, look at you. 5,000. Okay. Yes, we also need npm install express. Yeah, please implement a simple express server using ESM. It's fine to do this. Cool. And then let's split this up, and we're gonna install npm install xterm. And what we're basically gonna do here is call the API to create the browser session and like resume a sandbox. So let's go and find ourselves a sandbox that we can use. Created by you. So another thing we need is I need to have the, I wonder if I actually have it. We can see. Let's try it. SDK, new code sample. Import CodeSandbox from CodeSandbox. Why isn't it here? Oh, is it because I need to link it again? There we go. CodeSandbox. And this takes like an actual API token. And I think I called it token. Let's try that. Does it even run? Yarn vite node server.ts. Oh, npx vite node server.ts. No, of course it doesn't. Oh, I call it CSB API token, I think. I'm not sure if it's available here. No. Ah, okay. I'm gonna have to do this because I'm gonna mess around with tokens again. Where did I put that thing? Here it is, CSB API token. I'm gonna copy that. And then we're gonna do this. I'm gonna paste it here as well. Oops. And then we're gonna do this. Then I'm gonna do source.env. And then server is running. Why does it exit? That's weird, isn't it? Shouldn't exit. Anyways, okay, so now we have that thing running, and let's npm run dev. Open personal. Cool. So what we really want to do is get the browser session. So we can do, is there like a JSON thing? No, is there? Why isn't there any? Oh, doesn't this have, wait, doesn't Express have, oh, interesting. I didn't know that. I guess I have to yarn link again. Yeah, it has JSON. Okay, so what we're gonna do is async, and we're just gonna say, since we need a running sandbox, we need to call SDK sandbox. Why do we even have? I don't think we need this. Opts, client opts, interesting. Sandbox, resume. What was the name of it? Tender. Is this the one? What's the ID? There it is. So we're gonna resume that one. Await it. And then we're gonna say await sandbox create browser session. Yeah, what we're also gonna do, I'm gonna add a to-do here because I really don't like extending disposable. Remove extends disposable, because you see, like when I'm using it, I'm getting like all these freaking like add disposable things that has nothing to do with the domain of the thing you're consuming. Okay, so now we're getting the browser session. So the only thing we really need to do here, and I'm gonna turn off strict mode because that's gonna kill me. And then we can remove some stuff here, I guess. Shell. So how does xterm work? npm xterm. Oh, of course, xterm. npm install. Why does the server exit? When I'm listening here, it shouldn't exit. So weird. And this is another like weird thing. Or does it actually exit? No, I don't think it actually exits. Like, yeah, we'll figure it out. That's so weird. Okay. So where do I go? Getting started. Import xterm from xterm. Or terminal. Okay, so we're gonna say const yeah, this is the fun thing about React. We have to use ref, and if no terminal ref current. Oh, look. What the hell? Yeah, how do I actually connect? Oh, interesting. Okay, so I wasn't sure that's the actual thing I wanted to do, but we need to open it. I think I can just open it. That's enough. That's enough. Let's see, and I guess we have to use an effect for that. Terminal ref. It's there, I promise you. yeah, I guess we can do the ID terminal just for simplicity's sake. Oh, how do I get the type? Oh yeah, look at that. No, that's a style sheet. That's the thing. Yeah, I think I can just import it. No, of course I can't. Oh, do I have to do this? Can I do this? Oops. Oh, look at that. Oh, yeah, but we have some crazy CSS here. Nice. That's a beautiful terminal. I'm not sure why it's so freaking big. I guess maybe there's some font stuff here. Yeah, whatever. Oh yeah, font size. Yeah, whatever. Okay, so now we have a shell. Now we need to write to it. So, and we need to connect to a sandbox. So we're gonna import connect to sandbox from CodeSandbox SDK / browser. And then, yeah, so sandbox ref, use ref. By the way, doesn't this have... Oh, interesting. No, it's there, right? Yeah, WebSocket client. Okay. Okay. WebSocket client. Oh, but that's not exported. Okay. Return type of connect to sandbox. And then, yeah, I guess we can just do sandbox, sandbox ref.current, connect to sandbox. And then we're gonna do, but why aren't we getting any type information here? Oh, did I write the wrong thing? Oh, look at that. So we have get session, and this is gonna be fetch / API. Oh. As any, yeah, ID would be, yeah, we don't actually need that ID there. That's at least, yeah, we'll see. So this should create like a promise of the actual thing. So on this use effect, we can also do not terminal ref, but const terminal, I think, terminal current. So we can say terminal open, and we should also be able to say, let's call it sandbox. Yeah, this is a promise though. Maybe we can just do async. Ah, do you complain about that? Of course you do. This is how you code in fucking React. It's like horrible when you want to do stuff like this. It's stupid. Okay, so we have a sandbox, and then we want to create a shell. Why isn't this typed? Did this work? Oh, the wrong thing there. There we go. Sandbox.shells create. Yeah, This can be async. Thank you. Okay, shell await, and then shell on output, I think, data, terminal write data. Yeah, and I think terminal dot write shell dot, doesn't this have like get output? I think so, something like that. And then terminal on input or something on data. On data as for when the data this type of frame when the user types or pastes into the terminal. So here we're gonna say shell write data. Something like that's gonna work. And it didn't. What happened? Process is not defined. Ah. How do I define process.n? Oh, forbidden. Why is that forbidden? Yeah, I think it's because it's actually not running. Oh, what happened now? Wait, what? Oh, for fuck's sake. It's the same thing. It's so stupid. But why is node closing down? It shouldn't close down. Is it like the port I'm running on or something? What? Okay. That was the weirdest thing ever. Oh. What the hell happened there? Oh, we actually have something. Oh, wait. Which server is this? Oh, sorry. That was... this should be 4,000. Oh, but I had something on 4,000. Yeah, so I'm working on CodeSandbox SDK stuff, and I'm currently just gonna play around with a shell because we had some reports on shell behavior. Let's see, 3002. Oh, yeah. Internal server error. What did I do now? Failed to start unauthorized. Why am I unauthorized? I shouldn't be unauthorized. Why did it say I was unauthorized? This is on the CodeSandbox thing, yeah. Ugh, is it unauthorized? Unauthorized. Must be my token. Okay, I have to check my token, so let's go at it again. This was rough. This was rough. Settings, API. BPN. Yeah, it's here. Why isn't it working? Last used April 30th. Why? Why are you saying? Oh, yeah. I have to actually parse it again. Ah, this is stupid. This is so stupid. Let's see. I have a bad setup here. There we go. Look at that. LS. Hey, it actually worked. That's pretty cool. Okay, so what we're gonna do, the report was like, if we dispose of a shell, we dispose of a shell. What are we gonna try to do here? Okay, we're just gonna play with it a little bit. So we're gonna add some more stuff here. So let's, oops. What's the H1 thing here? Why is it so far down? Oh, it has a lot of margin. Oh, I zoomed in on it, right? That's the thing. Hello. There we go. Stupid. You can be big. There we go. What was I doing? Yeah, we're gonna play around with it. So we're gonna add, like, be able to like toggle the thing. Yeah, so we need, okay, let's create a function called terminal, or terminal component, and that's gonna have all of this stuff. Well, most of it. And that's gonna return. And then we're gonna remove all of this stuff. Shell, this is gonna be a terminal component, but we're gonna also have a button. And that button is gonna toggle it. So, and then we're gonna see if we can reproduce some stuff. Oh. Function toggle. Function. Const state, set state. Use state, false, well, true. Set state, not state. Okay. So we're firing it up. Everything works. If I toggle it off, I toggle it back on. Toggle it off. Toggle it back on. Yeah. I'm not sure what that error could have been. We could also like pass in. Yeah, okay. I think I have to kind of help that customer more directly. I think it doesn't seem to be related to. Yeah, I think we have to debug some more. The only thing I can imagine is like we have the same terminal ref. Yeah, no, okay. I don't think we're going to spend any more time on that. But at least I can report back to the customer that it's not something we can easily reproduce. Awesome. Okay, where are we at now? We had some to-dos. Document state, remove, extend. Yeah, okay. So we're gonna do that now. Remove that disposable thing. Make that a property instead. So Sandbox client, this also extends disposable, right? No, it doesn't. It's only Sandbox that does it. Yeah. Oh, it doesn't even use it. Okay. Yeah, so this is not gonna... We're rather gonna have a private disposable, which is a new disposable. And then we're gonna do... Yeah, this is a little bit weird. Yeah, I guess we're doing this. So if you were to dispose of the Sandbox, it's going to dispose of... Yeah, why do we even have this? Oh, this.dispose. Okay. Yeah, I guess that's why we have it. This disposable, this disposable. Okay, so now we're kind of cleaning up the interface a little bit. Okay, I guess that was it. Because this doesn't have any disposable. No, it's kind of stateless. Yeah, I guess that was it. Check. npm run build. Yeah, you know, I think I'm gonna pick up the kids in a half an hour. So I think I'm gonna actually go up to the couch and write some documentation there instead. Reworked API. Cool. And then when that documentation is done, we're gonna release beta 2 with the updated docs. And then, okay, and now we don't have to ask these questions anymore. We don't have to ask that anymore. We implemented this as well. Cool. Okay, but this, yeah, and the thing is, there's a national holiday tomorrow, so I'm actually gonna, yeah, I'm gonna update those docs, and I'm gonna share with the team the progress, and then I won't be streaming. Maybe I'll find some time to do it, but yeah, then we're gonna get feedback on the beta and the documentation, and yeah. You know what? I'm actually going to create a small video on that. So yeah, I have to jump off regardless. But yeah, this was nice. Thanks for following along. And then I'm not sure when the next stream will be, but it will be as soon as I have a chance. Okay, bye.